Okay, welcome back. I just watched The Devil All the Time. Now, this movie is a Netflix exclusive movie. It's got Tom Holland, Robert Pattinson, and a bunch of other people that you know, but you probably don't know their names because their faces are so familiar, but you just don't. You see their face and you're like, oh, I know that dude, but you don't know what the heck their name is. But it's been advertised as a Tom Holland, Robert Pattinson movie, but in reality, they're only in about half of it. So the movie starts out with Tom Holland's character's father. I don't remember his name, so we're going to call him Jimmy. Remember that. The kid is Jimmy. Tom Holland is Jimmy. So, Jimmy's father is coming back from World War II, and he ends up in a diner, and in the diner is this other guy who is, let's call him Frank, because I don't remember his name either. So Frank lets Jimmy's dad sit there, and that's where our story begins. And the part of this story is that these two stories will intersect later in life. These two people, Jimmy's father / Jimmy's family, and Frank and his story. So it starts off with Jimmy's father and Frank meeting their wives. Now, they meet their wives, and there's this whole setup with that, and Jimmy's father has Jimmy, and Frank goes with his wife, and they become serial murderers, where Frank takes pictures of his wife having sex / killing the random people, random dudes that they pick up on the street hitchhiking. Now that subplot's going on, the serial murder hitchhiking plot. Meanwhile, Jimmy's father and stuff, Jimmy's wife dies, then he kills himself. Before that, he kills Jimmy's dog. A lot of murder happens, a lot of killing. But meanwhile, during all of this, there's a lot of religious talk. There's a lot of God and Jesus and church and all that stuff, and you're introduced with these few characters, and it intertwines with this one pastor guy killing this woman, and then the pastor guy ends up being killed by the serial murderers. There's a lot of parts that kind of intersect and intertwingle-dingle. Now, you would think that'd be very cool, except in some ways it's very long, annoying, and it's not paced out very well. Also very random and sporadic. It's not like a constant flowing story. They cut back and forth a few times. It's a little weird how they do that. And after all of this, you finally get to Tom Holland and Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson's this evil pastor guy, and Tom Holland is Jimmy. And basically, Jimmy's sister, he's not really her sister. It goes back with the story. Really, it's a little too complicated to explain. I mean, it's simple. If you watch it, it's just complicated to explain it. So a lot of bad things happen. I don't want to spoil the bad things, but let's just say a lot of murder, death, and bad things. It really, at the end, it revolves around Tom Holland's character, Jimmy, seeing that no matter what happens, some sort of life lesson, but not really though, because everything's bad. And I think there's a message of religion corrupts, I guess, or maybe that's not what's meant to happen, but that's what I was seeing, that how the bad side of religion. Overall, not a bad movie, not a good movie. I think it could have been done better. It's not a terrible story itself. And the acting's pretty good. Other than Robert Pattinson's weird voice, he does this southern accent that's kind of weird, not very great. But it's interesting. It's not too boring. It kept me going. But it is a little over 2 hours, and at some points it gets dragged out for some parts. But nearing the end, it starts to pick up and get going. For a non-religious movie, it is very well. It's not a religious movie in the sense of a actual religious movie, but a movie that focuses on religion. except I wasn't really, I mean, it is called The Devil All the Time, and there is that, so I can see why it's so religious, but I don't know, it's just kind of off-putting and not that great. I mean, it's a Netflix exclusive, and if you are into that weird religious slash bad religion, or anything that's related to like serial killers and stuff, I think it would be interesting to watch if you were to watch it. But if you're just looking for something to watch, I don't suggest it. I think it was advertised as better than it really is, but it's still not terrible. Overall I'd give it, I think, a 6 out of 10. I think it's got everything there. There's some parts that aren't that great. Robert Pattinson's voice is weird, which I still can't get over. The story could be told in a better laid out way. I think everything's there, but just not in the way that it should. I think in general it's a sort of interesting story, but there are a lot of boring parts, and I think it's a little forced, the story, because it's all about these two stories connecting again, but it doesn't work in a mystical, magical way. It just kind of, everything just happens. So yeah, The Devil All the Time. Check it out or don't. I think it's one of the movies that you're gonna have to really watch to fully understand why it's good and bad. Thanks for watching. Bye.